Here with a cute way to add the perfect finishing touch to your Christmas table is Orly with DIY chair leg covers. I love this.
Could you die?
Come on.
They're
hysterical.
I'm telling you right now.
They are so cute, and everyone that walks in gets this smile, and they are laughing and they're happy.
Instant feel good.
They're instant
really
feel
funny.
good.
Instant feel good. Okay, let's just jump right in. What materials do we need to make these fantastic guys?
First, I knew I wanted to come up with something really fun, and so I was really inspired by the Christmas Next Door, Hallmark movie Christmas Next Door. And Fiona's character
Love Fiona.
loves decor, loves getting ready for Christmas, and I felt like this was something that her character would get a real kick out of, and I wanted to do something celebratory like that.
Sweet.
So that's really how I came up with the idea. And obviously, if they're going to look like Santa legs, we need a fabric that is going to look like a Santa suit. So that's the first thing you need is your fabric. I'd either recommend a stiff velvet or a felt. You just really need to make sure that that fabric is stiff and strong. Otherwise, when you put it on the leg, it's just going to fall all the way down.
Okay.
You need it to have some rigidity.
Okay.
The next thing we need is a little fur trim. I would recommend getting the faux fur trim as opposed to buying yards of faux fur fabric and cutting it into trim. You've seen me do a million of those projects, and there are hairs flying everywhere, and you're like, if you don't have to cut it,
don't do it, because then you're coughing for days like we are.
And I'm
like, almost have to wear a
pulling-
hair mask or a face mask. Yeah.
Exactly. So the trim is a really great option. And then for the buckle, we're going to be using this craft foam. This particular one has a sticky adhesive back. If you can get that, great. If not, you can always use glue. And then lastly, we're going to use a black plain sock.
Just a regular sock.
Just a regular sock.
Okay, you said there's a few different options when you're creating the foot.
Yeah, and so when you can see there, the foot that I have is the sock. And so the other option, I'll show you how I actually made it, but the other option would be using like a little boot. Using like a little kid's shoe.
Instead of a sock, a boot.
Instead of a sock, yeah, you could do go real realistic with it and put an actual boot, which would be really funny. I know, it's so much fun. Okay. So what we need is to cut our fabric. You want to take your measuring tape and go around your chair here. So you would take the measuring tape, and when I measured this, all the way around, the circumference was 7.5 inches.
Okay.
I knew that I wanted it to be a little bit baggier. You don't want it to be super tight because chair legs are skinny, and it's gonna look like these little super skinny Santa legs.
Right.
So you wanna go just a little bigger. So I made mine 10 inches. So this here is 10 inches wide.
Gotcha.
Then you would fold it in half, and you would just do one stitch all the way down. Then when you flip it inside out, it creates this, which is your little pant leg. That is the circumference you need.
And you mentioned the fact that you want the Santa leg to kind of stay up on the chair. Now, we have a lot of kids, a lot of family running around the house around Christmas.
Yeah.
Is there a specific material that's, going to keep it up there, but also be durable so it doesn't kind of get beaten up?
Yeah, that's why what you're really going to want to use is either the felt or the velvet.
Okay.
Those are the two really strong options.
Silk, it's just going to fall.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So now to actually do it, we're just going to lift up the leg, and I'm just going to slide this little guy on.
I'm sorry, this is so funny.
It's so funny, right?
I feel like
the seam is in the back.
I mean, Orly, even if you
wanted
wanted Santa's legs to be fatter, maybe
we could make them even fatter. The only thing is you'd have to, because if it gets too big, it will fall. So you can see up here, this is a raw edge. What I would recommend doing is just folding it under. There's no need to sew and hem this. This will stay perfectly in place. So now, bring it all the way to the top. We have a clean finished edge. So now we're gonna do our sock. You can see right here that I've scooped out. You can see that little red stitch. I've scooped out, and if you pull back just a teeny bit, you can see that it creates that shape. So I'm gonna cut out what I sewed, and you'll see that it kind of gives that little tipped up, almost elf shape.
Oh, that's why you
So
do that.
that's why you do it, because otherwise it's just gonna become a huge sock, and you don't want that. You want that silly little. I mean, it's really
almost like an elf shoe.
And you could do elf.
Exactly. You could do these
Reindeer?
You could do reindeer. You could do these in green, whatever color you want. So now you're just gonna stuff the sock. Yeah, and you want to make sure. I know this is gonna look really funny, but you just want to make sure that when you're doing it, you're creating that little
poof up.
And you want to actually work with it. So I'm just gonna do one big.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so now
People are going to be stepping on Santa's toes all night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So now we'll go ahead and take this and slide it on. And this next part, I'm going to trim this a little because we're not going to need nearly this much.
Okay.
So trim the sock. And now when you put the sock on, you're going to end up cutting a little hole, but you want to do it after the sock goes on because you want to know where you need it. So get it on there, play with it.
Why are you cutting a hole?
Because what happens is when you want to be able to actually move these chairs around.
Yes.
If they're not, the minute I lift it up, the whole thing falls off, which you don't want, right? You don't want to do that. So we want to pull this up. Now take your scissors and feel on the bottom. Just lift it up and you can feel where the chair leg is.
So basically like the heel of the foot.
Exactly. And now I'm just gonna cut the tiniest hole because it stretches, so you don't need it. And look, now you can, let me lift it up so you can see that. Right there, there's the foot.
So it's not gonna slide.
Exactly. So now I'm gonna set that down. Will you hand me the little glitter?
It's already cut out.
It's already cut out.
Yeah.
So will you actually just show that? So that is a little square that I created, and I just cut a piece out that large.
Yeah,
and that's how I got my buckle.
Stick on. Okay.
So now I'm gonna peel that off, and I'm gonna put that right on
This
top.
is seriously so cute,
Isn't
Orly.
it so stinking cute? Okay, so now we put this little guy here. Again, make sure the toe sticks up.
Man, it's coming together.
Our last end camera, would you hand me a pin right
Yeah, you got it.
I want to like have this chair like sticking out just so the legs are sticking out into a room, so when people walk by,
Yes. Well, and even what's so funny is right now, actually, when you show this one right now, that because I picked it up, the foot, they're pigeon-toed.
Yeah,
Like it has even more character.
That's hysterical.
Honestly, you could do anything with these little guys. You could give it so much
or
character.
at your desk for work. This is so
A photo
funny.
op. So now I'm just pinning this in the back. Because this is a temporary decoration, pinning it is gonna be just fine. You can use hot glue if you want, but you wanna make sure that you're not permanently gluing it to your chair because you don't, this is temporary Christmas decoration. Let me
And
put it
how
on this
great
side.
is this? This just adds that extra sort of zhuzh to your decorations that you have, like your Christmas trees here, the chairs in the room with the Christmas trees.
People are going to come over for your Christmas party, and I promise you they're going to go home talking about these chair covers. Like, they're going to stand out.
There's no way that you can walk in and not go, oh.
And not only that, you can, talk about the picture possibilities are endless. You can sit on your knees so it looks like
Put a
those are your
Santa
feet.
hat.
So those are your feet. That's the funny thing.
I know.
It's
super cute.
A big bang for the buck. I'm sure for full instructions, head over to hallmarkchannel.com.